So what can be done about that? It's not at all clear to me what a policy fix would be that wouldn't involve turning people away when they're apprehended at the border.
I do think that there is a fix within the current framework that is doable just with money. And it will require money from Congress for sure. That's the thing. This is impossible to do with presidential action. I think people are deluding themselves if they think Trump on the day number one, everything's going to change. Some things are going to change because he has this scaremongering effect on illegal immigrants that there's going to be fewer people coming at first. But the source of the issue is not going to change. For that, you will need to say, what is the incentive to present yourself and make a false asylum claim? Is that you're going to be allowed in, right? And are going to work and are going to live here for several years. We basically have a free work visa as you show up at the border. That's what we have. And so if you want to change that, you will need to detain people while their case is being heard. Now, you can't detain people for 5 years. That would be inhumane and impossible too, because of the numbers. So you will need to accelerate the asylum processing to just weeks or perhaps a couple months. Now, that requires money because the number of immigration judges that decides these cases nationwide is about 700 for over 4 million pending cases. So we're talking about you probably need, well over an extra 1,000 new immigration judges. This is going to take time. You probably will need to do some sort of reordering of the cases, leave current cases to the end, perhaps even do some sort of temporary amnesty for the people that are already here and then fix it for the people coming forward.
I see. What fraction of the cases which do get eventually adjudicated are rejected? What fraction are granted asylum? Do you know?
Yeah, so it depends on the type, but of the people who come through the border who do defensive asylum claims, it's less. It's definitely less than half, but it's about a quarter. It really fluctuates by year. It's actually really interesting. When Trump was in office, like 10% approval, and now with Biden is like 30-40% approval.
Wow.
So this is something people don't know, that the immigration court system is not Article 3. They're not real judges. They are political appointees by the president, by the executive branch, by the Department of Justice.
To terms of a fixed period?
I am not actually sure. I believe that it's like a regular judge where it's until you quit.
So the Trump judges were more strict?
Much more strict. And some judges, by the way, are obviously like illegally strict. There's a couple judges that have never approved an asylum case in their whole career.
Wow.
And it's obvious that there's something going on behind this. And if you see their history, like they work for like anti-immigration groups, and then the Democrats appoint like immigrant rights group activists as immigration judges themselves too. And so the immigration court system is really totally messed up.
What happens to those whose cases are rejected or declined?
So they get put on deportation proceedings. The problem is, imagine you are from one country that does not take deported citizens. You will be in a perpetual deportation order until somebody agrees to take you back. And until then, you're allowed to stay here. What else are they going to do? And by the way, this has become a big issue with, say, the Afghans who came here because Biden brought them under the withdrawal, right?
Yeah.
Congress has been trying to pass what's called the Afghan Adjustment Act, which would legalize all the Afghans who came. And because Congress has not passed it, all those Afghans are on the asylum system, delaying further the cases from the border, by the way. And we're talking about maybe 100,000 Afghans. So they're delaying the cases from the border. They're here. If they get rejected, they can't be deported to Afghanistan. Who's going to deport them to Afghanistan? On what planes? On what flights? It's controlled by the Taliban. You might as well just give them amnesty and approve them. You don't want to keep them under the shadows and delaying everything else. But Congress doesn't get anything done, so we stay with the status quo.